to Are We Live? We are indeed. It's Friday. Hey folks, how's it going? We made it to the end of the week. Do some game dev type things. Feels weird calling it game dev because this isn't strictly building or developing a game, but it's developing things for a game. So I suppose it still counts as game dev. It's one of those things where people don't feel comfortable calling a person a game developer if they only write, well, if they don't write code, then people don't think they're a game developer. But if they write stories or they make meshes or design textures, they're still making things for a game. So by that definition, anything for a game is game development. So yeah, this kind of falls into it, and it will be put into a game. But we are working with Blender. We're working on our panda bear model that I've been making for some time now. And we've moved on to the point of painting it now. So we got the model, I'm happy with the model. So we got to the point where we're gonna paint it now. So we'll switch over to the screen and show you guys what I'm up to. Okay. So I've gone ahead and did a little bit ahead of time. So on the right hand side here we have the mesh itself, which is the panda. And on the left here we have different sections of the mesh kind of cut out and placed flat. So it means it will make it easier to paint, as if it's like little slips of paper that you're sticking on to the mesh. So all these are little sections of the bear. Like parts of its ear, parts of its paw. It's probably split the mesh down a little bit too much. I might need to unmap it again. But we can probably work with this. But this is the bear. Now I'm just going to have to follow along with this little video tutorial I have. So I want to see what I need to do next. So it's pink. So the bear's pink. What are we doing now? So pink has got no textures. I'm going to select a texture. I'll put that on that screen. Will it work on this screen? Other texture, base color. We'll call this base white, I suppose. I'm quite happy with the 224 by 224, but you can up it if you want a high res texture. You don't need an alpha channel. Do want a base color though, which is going to be white. Okay, so the bear is now white. Awesome. Okay, so that's kind of covered the entire area with that base texture. We select a brush and then we just paint, I suppose. So we're going to need the black. So for his eyes, it's over there, isn't he? Depends where his actual eyes are on this. Oh, is it here? Oh, there we are. Oops. That's a little bit overboard. Need to reduce the radius down here. That's better. Okay, so it's actually this bit here now. Do this again. So we're painting squares. So where's the nose here? It's part of the nose on this bit here at least. Where's the other part of his nose? Because the nose is missing from there. See, the unwrap hasn't really worked very well here. There's certain sections I can recognise and look at it and go, okay, that's part of this, that's part of that. little bits like this. It's just decided to put that single triangle as its own bit of texture. Now, what I probably should have done with the textures. If I made the texture higher res, it'd be less blotchy, I suppose. So he made his resolution yeah, 48. 248. Let's do that. 248. 248. Panda white. No, everything's panda white now. What if I add another one and call that so the normal one, call that panda black. Oh, that's alpha. Ah, okay. That's interesting. So the whole thing disappears. How do we remove that one? Sounds you look good. Hey Jeffrey, how's it going, dude? Good to see you. Hope you're having a good Friday. Trying to get to grips with the painting. I think I made my texture too low resolution, but I don't fully understand how this bit works at the moment. Doing good. How are you? Glad to hear. I'm okay. Bit tired. Been a bit tired the past couple of days. I was practically falling asleep about half an hour before the stream. I thought, nope, I want to do this. I want to stream. I want to colour this panda. So I persevered, but I don't know how late I'll stream for. Right. Let's try and sort things out at the same time as streaming. Not always good. Right. So, can I... Brushes, that's a brush. Interesting brush. Can I remove... These are textures. I want to remove the textures. So a quick Google. How do we remove textures? Remove texture Blender. So you can add textures, but there's no seemingly easy way to remove it. Delete materials and textures. How do you get rid of a texture in Blender? Hold Control in the texture paint mode. You erase instead of painting. I think that's just removing it on there. So I gotta go. Oh, hold Control and do. No. Hold Control in texture paint mode. That's what I mean. Texture paint mode. That is Control. That is very much not not what I was thinking. Everything seems to be painted black there. We're not wanting to do the rolling stones, unfortunately. How do you remove texture? How do you clear textures in Blender? He's coming back to this. Okay, let's watch this video.
Right, so in Blender, how do you do that? So all you have to do is this is your normal default scene here. Just click on this little button here, and then you want to go to Blender File, and in here you can see like literally everything that's
Blender file, okay. Ah, okay. So you have to do it from here, which is interesting. Gotcha. Well, that solves that one at least. Okay, so let's go again. Let's make a new base color. Call it Panda Panda White. Make sure there's no alpha channel. Make sure it is full 100% white. Go OK. Go Panda White. Cool. So everything is now defaulted to white. Now let's make sure I'm not missing anything for the next stage. Okay, right. So go down to his nose area. Then Now black selected. Paintbrush. Seems a bit better. So you certainly need a higher resolution texture to make it less blocky, it seems. Now I know Blender's painting tools aren't great. So I know they generally sort of say, well, yeah, you can paint in Blender, but sometimes it's easier to just paint it outside of Blender. Like, I'm not sure what's going on here, you see. Because what we've basically done is this. You see you've got the lines here, but what we're wanting to paint is a bit more detailed than the it actually allows. It doesn't really matter if you paint over here because this isn't part of the texture. Where's that one then? So it's kind of split the bear in half. I don't know where the other half of his nose is. You gotta walk the dog, okie dokie. See you shortly. Have you seen a lot of empty space in UV map? Maybe scale them up to increase resolution. Oh. Is that where I'm going wrong? How's it going, Hom VP? Thank you for that note. I'm extremely noob to this kind of stuff. So I just kind of threw in a arbitrary number. And it's clearly not worked out for me very well. Ah, there's the nose. Yeah, because the resolution is not looking very good at all. If you select some vertices and press S, you can scale them up. Okay. So do you have to go in back into edit mode to do that? I've just noticed he's got that little bit in the middle there. Could do with that being rejoined. UV editing mode, cool. UV editing. For the most part, I'm quite happy with the low poly, but it's these certain details. Want to edit the UVs, not the actual position. Okay, edit UVs. Oh, is this it? My window is your UV map plus texture. On the left, okay. Oh, this one here. So I need to scale this up. So I can actually select the vertices here, can I then? So this is his nose here. Ah, okay, so I can actually select them. I did not realise that. That makes sense. And you're saying S to scale them. Whoops. I think that's not quite, is it? I would select a whole island to preserve aspect. Ah, gotcha. I don't know why it's split it like this, but it's all. And then scale up the entire section. I get you now. Do we leave something behind there? Oh no, it's the painting on it. Gotcha. Cool, that makes sense. That makes sense. So these are still relative to the mesh, but they take up more space on the map. I understand. Basically, a texture only has so many pixels, so maximizing the pixels per vertex is best. Ah, that makes sense. Okay. Can we? Where's my mouse gone? Let's scale those in one go. It's because spacing's gonna be a bit awkward, isn't it? Oh, so G is to move, by the way. G to move. Ah, excellent. See, I've tried to find cheat sheets that I can just have as a reference guide, but trying to find something that makes sense when you've not really done it before. You kind of have to. I feel you have to do it a few times to understand what it means before I actually have a full listing of what's going on. Some of these I'm not going to be painting any colour, but it's worth scaling up just to see them. And the way it's unwrapped this mesh is not the cleanest, but this is my first Blender model, so I probably didn't build it very well. I probably couldn't have had a far better method, but next thing I build will be cleaner. Yeah, Blender is definitely quite complicated. Not very good either. Well, you're certainly better than I am. You've already progressed to knowing these kind of things. But just knowing the two keys, S and G, means I can move these around the map, get the most out of what I want to do with them. And this is a panda bear, so majority of the bear is white, and there'll be black areas. So I thought it'd be a fairly simple model to work with to start with. Like, a bear is a bear, and as far as texturing, it's either white or it's black. So that felt simple. I know you can go even more simple than that, but cool trick is also overlapping regions with the same color texture. Oh, that makes it, yeah. So you basically have a color block, and then you just overlap the regions so they all colored the same. Clever. I like that. I suppose you really have to know what's going on with everything. But I suppose that minimises the map size, I suppose, because you're not got so much detail on the map. Makes room for detailed parts. So I suppose, yeah, because you've only got so much space on the map, and if you want certain colour detail, rather than taking up most of the map in black, for instance, you just have a black section, stick it all in the black section, or the white section, and then if you want more detail, have a space for detail. Makes sense to me. Now, I don't like how it's just a single triangle is its own island. Maybe I split. Maybe I didn't put the right settings when I unwrapped it. So the island's a bit too fragmented. Because I don't know what each of these sections are yet. They probably don't. I definitely don't need to scale all of these. But I don't know what any of these actually refer to, and whether they are going to be coloured. Because I have no idea what is that? What's that part of? So it's only a couple of more lines of to scale up. I suppose if I start colouring it and find that it needs more detail, I can give it more space. The way I create UV maps is by first marking a seam and then UV unwrap. Okay. So you actually dictate where it's going to sort of cut it effectively. Because I just did a quick lookup tutorial and it says we'll just select the whole thing and unwrap it, which is basically what I did here. But there's clearly more advanced methods. We'll give this a go. So I want to start making more objects to import into Unity. So doing the basic things like this first gives me an idea, and then I can start thinking of more complex things. Learning the tricks. I don't think it's even anything there, is there? That's a single triangles. It's just decided that single triangle needs its own island. Right, so that's the original nose down there. Okay, so what was it under again? Texture painting. So I need to erase that bit. Again, I'm sure there's a... Did see a tip for erasing stuff, but it hasn't worked for me. So we can reset it. Reset back to default value. There we go. Why is that not white? Okay, dokie, radius. Right, that's all white. The thing that's got me as well is that radius is linked to that radius. So it's the same tool. And if you paint on there and you paint on here, you're painting two different sizes. And that was quite confusing. So on black. Where is... What's happened to the circle? Is the circle too small now? Okay. I can see that. Oh, because the circle's white, I can't see the circle. Okay. So yeah, I can see there's definitely more detail going on now. Can certainly do with making that that's a bit bigger still, but we can trial and error it. Just going to get my reference object. It's not this one. Right. Okay, so there's a roundish black nose, and then your typical kind of cartoon bear vertical line with a semicircle for a mouth. So that for like a low quality, that doesn't look too bad for that part of the nose. Try doing image resize to make the resolution bigger. Image resize. So this one here, image resize. Okay, gotcha. So it's a bigger texture map. So I went for the 2K one. But I suppose the bigger the image, the higher the file size. But then if majority of the image is white, it's not going to take up too much space. So we could double that. What does that go? That'd be 4. Can't math. It's too late on a Friday to math. 496. Okay, so it would overlap some regions. Yeah. That's true. So can you actually shrink? Well, that's the size. We can go with this size for now. See how it looks, and then I can adjust. Now the eye needs, but it's something to bear in mind, isn't it? Sort of so it doesn't need to be right to the edge. You need to leave a. Oops. The thing is, I didn't use a circle. I could have made this a circle, but I thought, okay, I'm going to try and keep the number of vertices low, and just go for like a, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 octagon. Go for an octagon-shaped eye, and beyond that, let's look at the reference again. So his eye kind of comes out. There we go. This eye here comes out section there, but they've got the white spot around it. Just have like a little. Can you make that a little smaller? Into 1 pixel. There's a little glint in his eye. And then we've got a basically got a white line around the eye. And then it comes out from the nose. But this is the thing now, because the way it's unwrapped it, it's taken the top half of the nose and put it somewhere else. I don't know if you know, but you can click drag to paint. Yeah. My hand isn't so steady, so I end up going in wild directions. No, actually, I'm good. I think I'm good. Yeah. So the eye, the black around the eye only goes to the bridge of the nose here. It doesn't go onto the nose. So we're okay. So I think it's about, I want to say about here. So we can freehand that. Something. This comes a bit lower down. Yeah, it's probably more about there. Yeah, so it meets to about halfway down the nose section. And I think it does come out a bit more. Probably a bit more than that, actually. And browns. Now Now, does the fill tool actually fill in that gap there? It does. It's just like Microsoft Paint. Awesome. Smear. Will that do a... okay. Not quite the... what's that? Cloning. Soften. Probably am better off just painting that. I remember when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time on Microsoft Paint just doing pixel art. You can always click the slider, input the value. Yeah, that's probably my better option. Yeah, all common sense has left me on VP. I say it's Friday and I'm tired. Not thinking straight. But I'm glad you're here. You're keeping me keeping some sense of intelligence. Hey Nix, thank you for the hearts. Hope you're doing okay. We're painting pandas. Now suppose this map could be exported and edited in a more sophisticated program. So I know Blender's tools aren't fantastic, but for what we need them for, it should be sufficient for now. Building more of your tiny house size and a cool house. Can't believe something so small and tiny but has so much detail. It's really a bonus for like single clicking is that for every time you click it goes a shade dark on some pixels. You don't necessarily want them to go full black. You just want to have some kind of blend on there. I'm always fascinated by macro shots of animals. Yeah, the amount of detail that you're missing, just like you see the ones that are like spiders or like tarantulas especially. Tarantulas have almost like cat-like paws on each of their legs. But it's something you'd never see. But seeing the macro shots of things like that and so much detail that you can really appreciate sort of nature. So that kind of looks okay there. Probably need the to clean this up. That's fine there because that overlaps, and the way it's unwrapped means this section doesn't transfer anyway, so I can just do that. That's not an issue. So that's an advantage there, because the way it's unwrapped, it's ideally the nose would be its own unwrap onto its own island. And the same with the eyes, I suppose. If the eye was unwrapped into its own thing, I could just paint the whole thing without having to worry about lines. It kind of looks like a panda. So there's that eye. It's not far off. Probably the curve needs to angle down a bit more. It looks a little bit more like a raccoon than a panda. What I should have done really is photograph the panda and stick it in Blender. I can then reference it that way. That would have been the smart thing to do. The next thing I do, I'll make sure I photograph it and stick it in Blender as a reference image. I suppose it doesn't help the mesh isn't the same dimensions as the physical panda either. Probably, well, the nose is a bit more angular than the plush, but realistically a bear would have more of a snout like that. But that looks good. I quite like the way that's turned out. Probably want to bring this down a bit though. Cool, quite like that. Now where's the rest of it? So here's the eye for the other side. Looks a bit like Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, it does a little bit. If I get Kung Fu Panda up, put a line there. But it's more of a squish through. Squish through. It's a very squishy plush. So there's not much kung fu going on. And the size of his arms, can't really hit anything with those. But yeah, I like. I've not actually watched much Kung Fu Panda. I like Kung Fu Panda. Not watched much of it though. I feel I am missing out a little bit, especially with the voice of Jack Black. So the eye for the other side needs to be done. So that's down here. Can we rotate the mesh? Because I think that might be easier to paint it if it's the other way around. Is it R for rotate or hit that button? R should rotate. Cool. Let's do that. So I feel that's going to be easier to work with, having these two pieces that way round. I want to make it easy to select things, so I'll move this one up. Oops. Texture painting, cool. Now that's the interesting thing. The top of its head's missing, so I can paint it so far, but I have to find the rest of it. So the way this is unwrapped is not making my life very easy at all. But I suppose I can paint it directly onto that. That'll be probably the easier option. Oh, we've got a black dot there. Where's that coming from? Something somewhere's got a black dot. I suppose I can paint it over on the mesh. Not entirely sure where that was, but wherever it was, it's gone now. Actually, we can do the eye at least. Oops. Do that. Let's bring this down. Looks a little bit on the messy side there. Again, didn't make this mesh too well. But it's not bad for a first mesh. This would certainly be an advantage if I got my I do have a Wacom graphics tablet. Things down there somewhere. Would be a little easier with that. But if I'm going to use the graphics tablet, I'll be importing the maps into a proper image editor. Okay, so pretty happy with that circle around there. Let's put the put the little glint in his eye. So the glint is about here. So again, the comes around. So just touching a fraction of that bit there. And coming up and over. About there. And this bit comes out a bit more. Oh, slight lag on that. Let's try that again. Fill. That's what we want, isn't it? Whoops, nope. Didn't fill in the other bit. Silly me. Now we fill that bit. Lagging for a little reason, I don't know. I'll fill in that top corner once we got to this. Lurking now, I've sound off by wanting to say hi. Hi, Lisa. That's the moat, of course, of course. Let's put that radius back down to 2. Get a bit more control here. Looking good. So what is this game going to be? So it's a little bit random. The panda has no direct bearing on the game, but I'm thinking once I have a panda asset, I can kind of use it as I want. But the game that I will be putting this into initially, at least, is easiest way to describe it is, so you have a castle and the player is a disgruntled village folk in a medieval town, and they're upset with the lord of the manor or the lord of the town, and they've approached their castle with a trebuchet and then proceeds to throw many items at the castle until it falls down, and then move on to their next conquest. So it's basically a hit all the targets until until they've been hit and then move on, but in the guise of medieval town, trebuchet, throwing objects, and you target is a castle. I built it so the castle has a lot of invisible targets. You just have to hit them all And once you've hit it, it cracks the castle in that location. So you just basically look for the cracks. Are there going to be flying pandas? This panda will be one of the items you can throw at the castle. But I'm going to put lots of novelty items in the game. How did you learn Blender? How's it going? R-Error. R-Error, I like that name. YouTube. Lots of YouTube. So, I'm no means... like, a lot of the stuff I'm doing is probably not the best way to do it. It's the way that someone's done it, or the way I've guessed it, and that's how I've learnt it. But I do have access to some proper course-based Blender lessons that I will go through, but I want to kind of do it the wrong way first, if that makes sense, and then take lessons and go, okay, so that's how they recommend you do it. What is going on with that corner? Okay, it's just the lighting. So this bit here needs painting. I'll probably have to paint that straight onto the panda. And of course the height of his eye things aren't the same. But yeah, it could be throwing pandas, could be throwing chairs. So far in the game I have a chair, a barrel, a crate and a rock. And those 4 items can be thrown at the castle. I'm going to basically have I'm thinking of doing it like an unlock. You do certain tasks and it gives you another novelty item, or you hit an Easter egg and it gives you that item or something. Like the panda could be sat in the level, and if you hit the panda with a rock, you unlock the panda as an item. Sounds interesting. You plan to publish it? Yeah, I'm just gonna throw it up on probably put it on itch.io, which is a website for hosting indie games for free or for a nominal price. But I'll probably stick it on there for free, or maybe £1 or something. But it's mainly a game just to see if I can make a game. If I know I can make a game, and I know I can make Blender objects and I can paint Blender objects, I'll make a full game. In the sense that a proper game, not just me having a funny idea. Cool, make sure to play when it's done. Awesome. Yeah, I'll certainly be shouting about it once I'm done. But as you're watching on YouTube, I think this is part of a playlist. I might be in a playlist. But I have all the videos relating to the game dev. So any of my videos that starts with making a silly little game is basically my progress with what I've been doing. So feel free to go back through those videos and you'll see some of the progress I've been doing with that game. I do have a working title, but I'm not 100% sold on what I'm going to publish it as. But one name that's been thrown at me, which I kind of like, is called Overthrow, because that's kind of a double meaning. It's like overthrow the government, overthrow the Lord, but also an overthrow as in something coming over a trebuchet. So that's quite a fun name. But I also like the name Angry Bard, because bards are typically medieval. Especially if your character is a bard, you might be an angry bard, and throwing things to knock stuff down is a play on Angry Birds. So I'm thinking somewhere between those two, or maybe a kind of combined name. Oh, both names are good, they are. I'm not so sure on what to go for. Maybe I'll go like Overthrow : Angry Bard or something, or maybe sort of Overthrow Angry, I don't know, or Angry Bard's Overthrow. I don't know. It's one of those things that it needs to be unique and catchy enough that people know what you're talking about as soon as you mention it. But at the same time, yeah, it's got to be meaningful. It's one of those things that you can come up with an idea, but if you don't have a good name for it, it falls flat a little bit. I think that needs to come down quite a bit. How throw the angry bards over. Wait, if you start launching the bards, go get in the Trebuchet bard. I've had enough of your songs. But I've got some bards. I got basically got your typical adventure quest starter pack. So I got a bard, I got an archer, I got a warrior or a barbarian. You know, your typical kind of fantasy characters. So I got meshes for all of those already. And that's kind of what led me to make the game, because it's like, well, I have this kind of starter kit of what you would have for a medieval setting. So what could I do with a medieval setting starter kit? Yeah, I thought, well, I have a castle, and rather than having the characters running around in your typical adventure, have them just throwing rocks at it. Very simple idea. So I didn't know how to make games until I opened Unity and started giving it a go. Yeah, it makes sense, yeah. Probably a little bit down on that bit there. But I would like to make a big adventure game, like a proper running around, fighting things type adventure game. But for now, I thought I'll go for a simple idea. Throwing a rock at a building. And then evolve to like throwing other things at buildings. And then the idea of, well, what silly things can we throw at the building? And I thought, well, we can throw a panda. Mainly because I had this thing sat next to me. So, well, let's try and make this in Blender. And then that's basically me. This panda is me learning Blender, basically. I don't like making a thing that is in a tutorial. Go, cool. I can follow a list of instructions. Now what? So I've kind of skipped tutorials of going, well, click here, do that, do this. Now you have what's on the screen. Awesome. Is that, well, I want to do a thing, and then I'll look up how to do the thing. And that's generally how I've learned how to do stuff in the past. Is that, well, I just think of a thing I want to do, and then I learn how to do that. Can we make this one a little bit better over here now? Because that seems a little... Or was it lagged again? Yeah, because it's on the... It's got a beauty spot. There we go. It's caught up with itself now. Same. I don't watch many tutorials either. I prefer to figure it out myself. Yeah. But I find I learn. If I had to work it out, the cogs in the brain have turned to get to that point. Whereas you throw information at me, I hold it for the time I'm using it, and it's gone. I've not learnt it, I've used the information. So there's two different things for me. I can either learn it or use it. But if I then use it because I've worked it out and learnt it that way, and it actually sticks there, it becomes a skill. I think that's the main thing. If you're doing a thing, the brain remembers you. how you worked out how to do the thing, and then it saves that information in your head to go, well, that's how we worked it out, and that's how we'll do it again. Right, so I now need to fill in this missing, got a missing bit there, and the nose. Then I can do his ears then. What are we looking at for time? Nearly 10:30. Cool. We've got maximum 30 minutes left before I will think about getting a rest. Depending on what mood I'm in and how I'm feeling, I might go later. Whoops, too far. So I need to. Oh, is it lagging again? What is my? Okay, CPU is only at 40%, memory's at 46%. Hard drive is basically asleep. Graphics cards on 40%. At maximum, I'm using about 40% of my computer right now. Most of that is streaming. Most of my processing power is going to just broadcasting. I'm not going to find this little section here. What's your computer specs? Good question. Just bring up my properties. So I've got a 4 gigahertz Intel i7. It's one of the older i7s. It's the 4790. I've got 16 gig of RAM, running Windows 10 Home Edition. And my graphics card is a 1660 Super. So quite old specs by today's standards. But they're doing a job. I was actually talking to my brother a little bit earlier today. We're both very much into our computer specs. But he's got a far better handling's not bad, yeah. Yeah, he's got a far better computer than I got. He's got a proper, fairly modern gaming spec computer. This was a mid-range gaming spec when I first built it, and I've just added extra bits into it. But it's aged now. It's aged. This computer I built about 11 years ago initially. So some of the components in this are 11 years old. But the graphics card's only 4 years old. Maybe 5 years old, 4 years old. 4 years old. Because they weren't in stock at the time. When I wanted to buy it, it's sort of COVID just hit. Just got mine 3 years after. Oops, scroll that. After being on a laptop. Ooh, I bet that was nice. Like, I don't mind laptops. Laptops are good for what a laptop is, and it's a computer you can fold up, put under your arm in a bag. Off you go. But you want power, you want upgradability. You can't beat your desktop. Now I am struggling to there we go, that's what we want to do. There's not painting here, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, but it was quite old, and I wasn't really using it outside anyway. Yeah, that's the thing. Sort of. The other pluses to a laptop is that it's either you can put it away, doesn't take up much space, or you can take it with you, of course. And there are some pretty powerful laptops which are desktop replacements, as they call them. you still have the disadvantage that they get hotter because the heat distribution is not very good, and you can't upgrade them very easily. But of course, with a laptop, you've got a screen, mouse, keyboards all built into it, so it's everything you need in a single thing, and it has a battery. And you just rip all those components away to have a desktop. So separate screen, separate mouse, separate keyboard. It has to be plugged into the mains. Yeah, I don't know why it's not painting onto the mesh. If I can find the top of its head. I don't know where it's put the top of the head. That's the body, I can tell you that. That's its arm. The only problem is my area has occasional outages, so looking at getting backup supply. Yeah, that is the advantage on that. Yeah, backup supplies aren't too expensive these days, depending how long you want the power to run for. That's your main cost. Where I work, we have I look after a few offices. I'm basically I'm tech support for a few different offices around my area, and one of them has frequent internet outages, and we thought maybe they're having power issues, so we actually bought a battery backup supply, and it was only, I think it only lasts like 20 minutes. It's got 20 minutes of power, but the power never went off for more than a few minutes, so it was perfect. But having the power go off for a couple of minutes is enough to upset the internet, of course. That mesh looks a bit messed up. That's probably, yeah. The mesh isn't perfect. Is that the other half of his nose? I think I found the other half of his nose. At least paint that. But yeah, I thought about, yeah, certainly battery backups for internet, because if you've got your phone or a tablet, you can still access the internet, even if the power is out in the house, as long as your Wi-Fi router has power. As long as the power cut hasn't affected your local area and it's knocked off any infrastructure that requires the power in order to give you internet. But that's something else completely. If it's just a house or surrounding area and everything else has its own supply. So that looks a little bit off. And the mesh isn't quite stuck together there either, is it? So I used a mirror modifier when I made this mesh, and it hasn't quite stitched it together properly in the middle. You can try merging vertices by distance. Yeah, I did do that. Maybe it wasn't close enough. Because they're definitely joined, but something weird. I might have to try and re-merge the vertices. Because that doesn't seem right to me. Okay, so we've got the nose there at least. Yeah, when I applied the mirror modifier, I selected the whole thing and just went merge by distance, because I thought, well, the vertices are pretty much sat on top of each other, but then maybe there were some that weren't. So maybe I need to bring the distance a bit further. That's probably what I've not done. There's probably some vertices that were actually slightly further apart. Yeah, that looks a bit janky. We got as far as his nose there. Where is the top of his head? Somewhere there is a black dot. I suppose the fun thing to do would probably be to put a splash of colour there. It would be easy to spot. Panda has a slight nose bump. It does. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure where. So that's one half of the nose there. The other half is actually attached to the face. But I don't know where this top section there is gone. So it's the top of his head. That's the bottom, I'm guessing. So somewhere, this could be that's the side of his body. And that's the bottom. Odd. Very odd. Ah, there it is. Okay, so that is actually... if you select the face in UV edit mode, it should highlight on the map. Ah! See, that makes sense. Oh, white's not going to help. There we go. So it was just that corner there. I was looking over the entire map. It was just right next to it. Right, let's deal with this little bit going on down here. It's probably because it's the two different mesh islands are slightly different sizes, so of course the resolution's not going to quite match up. So again, that whole nose would be one piece, I suppose, ideally. Yeah, otherwise it just does that. Okay, that'll do. That'll do. This, I can redo this at some stage if I'm really bothered. Really can't tell from a distance. No, that's the main thing. I always get caught up on the details. So it's like looking at it, I can see the difference. But the fact is, the player's going to see it at this size. Like, from this distance, you're not going to notice any blemishes at all. Maybe they'll see it about this far, but you're not going to see that from here. This looks like super smooth. Look at that. But I always like making sure the details are correct. There's his ear. It's bigger radius. Oops, wrong one. And I should be able to just paint this entire thing. So again, this is the advantage of the map, UV map, unwrapping cleanly, because I don't have to like worry about keeping the lines. I just paint the entire section. Let's see about half the year. So it's just that over the arch bit. Where's the rest of it then? Oh, that bit. Oh, we've got single strip. So these are bits like this. You kind of overlap them, I suppose, to then put them all in a single solid black section. Those are like the arms as well. These are the arms. So these would definitely be all black. There's an ear. Now because it's kept that part of it on, I won't necessarily, I suppose it doesn't matter if that bit's black. There's another part of the arm. That's the interesting thing going on there. So you can actually, when it unwraps it, you can actually see where the mesh has gone a bit skew with. Now, some of these shapes I do recognise. Like, okay, I remember when I made the mesh, certain sections like this had that shape, and I can just pick that up straight away. That's where I find out I've painted things I shouldn't have painted. Yeah, it's looking okay so far. Select face in UV edit mode should be able to highlight the map. So okay, it's over here. Oh, 10 to 11. See what we can do. If I can finish painting this panda, I'll be quite happy. That strip there. Found it, cool. So both ears painted. There's a little bit just in there actually. Okay, so just have it there. Cool, that's the ears painted. Have we missed one of his arm pieces? They're pretty distinct there, it is down there. If you just these little bits here, a little bit strange to have a panda during medieval times. Do they have a name? Well, this particular panda, the actual physical panda here, this one's called Squish. So I'll probably honour that panda's name by calling this virtual panda Squish as well. But yeah, for the setting, it's not ultra realistic at least, but this could be fun. It'd be fun to have a throwing random objects out. The weirdest thing I would like to put in there would be a model of Dwayne the Rock Johnson's head. So you can quite literally throw a rock at a castle. Should make it squish when hitting something. Now that would be interesting. Actually get the physics on it to go whoosh. What I would like it to do is kind of ragdoll. I need to work out how the ragdoll physics, so as it's flying, it kind of its arms and legs kind of flap a little bit. I love that, yeah. So I have found like free models online of people that have made the rock. So I might base it off that and make it a bit more unique, so I'm not just taking other people's models. But if they're putting it online for free and the license allows it, then I can just throw it in a game. Where am I missing the other? Unless it's just not updated here. Oh, this is part of that mesh. That's the only problem, because the way it's unwrapped is overlapped the vertices here. So in this instance, would I have to detach the vertices and make them their own island? Let's go to UV editing. You can try just selecting them and moving. Cool. Because these vertical, well, kind of vertical lines are the back of the panda. I think it's that one as well. Yeah, because it's not going to be that triangle there, because that triangle's part of the body, really. So, be selecting that. Ah, okay, so that's now made a whole thing. So G to move. So if I did that, it's not going to affect. Although saying that, it's not going to be much of an issue either way in this instance, because I'd probably want that section to be black anyway. So I think we can get away with that. Do I want that section to be black? Yeah, yes, mate. Yeah. We should be able to get away with that. Oh, the music's actually stopped. I've been streaming for nearly 2 hours. Yeah, it was about a 2-hour music piece. And it would be up to there. radius down a bit. Where's it going to come down to? Is it just below the arm? Just below the arm. So probably about here. Something along that lines there. Oh weird, it's actually, it didn't unwrap the vertices just there as part of this, it's put it somewhere else. So there's a diamond shape, probably one of the ones further up, that is actually goes in there. It's probably the same with that triangle there as well. Why does it think that that's what it needed to do? It doesn't make sense. Maybe it's the way I made the mesh that that's a bit awkward to try and unwrap, so we'll just stick it in its own area. Marking seams manually helps with those kind of, yeah. Next model I make, I would definitely mark seams. Like I didn't even know that was a thing I could do. I might even redo this one at some point. Right now I'm not too bothered as long as I can make it work. But I can make it like a Panda 2.0 and then make sure the mesh is cleaner, seams are marked, and it kind of unwraps nice and cleanly. Because yeah, looking at how fragmented that section is, that whole his arm should be 2 sections really. Kung Fu Panda breaks down the wall. Yeah, he might have a special extra power. It just knocks more area at the same time. But yeah, I suppose ideally this arm would be unwrapped into 2 separate islands, like sort of front and back. Possibly even the body in the front and back. Head, front and back. Nose separate. Ears separate. Probably even do the eyes separate ideally. Legs. So is it 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. So it needs to have a line running through there. In actual fact, probably be easier if I drew it straight onto the panda. There we go, and colour all this in. But yeah, if the model is a bit more detailed on its texturing, then I'll be more bothered with how it's unwrapped it. But certainly it's given me some lessons on what to expect when trying to unwrap a mesh this complicated. Take that back a bit. So it just needs to have a line running right across. I'm going to go make dinner. It was nice talking to you. Good luck. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for all your help. You didn't need to come in here and help me at all or tell me any tips, but you did, and I much appreciate that. I try and do one of these kind of streams once a week. Might be switching to Wednesdays because my Fridays are getting busier. But next Friday I might do one. If you keep an eye on my notifications, you know, and if you see making silly game pops up, I'll be messing around with this thing. But I hope you enjoy your dinner. I hope it's something nice and tasty. And enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Sounds good, thank you. Awesome. Certainly one of the things I do enjoy about streaming things like this is that you can kind of work on stuff together with people. And some people don't like that. They say, well, I'm just here to do my thing, and if you want to talk, do talk. But I certainly find it helpful to try a thing, and someone will usually go, ah, did you know this? You go, I did not. That is a great thing to know. I'm going to guess I need these bits as well. Seems so. There could be lots of these little triangles. All the little triangles at the top. I think it's where I made a hash of attaching the body in the head. I know there's an automated way of doing it. I should have used the automated way. Let's finish doing the body bit. We'll get do a quick check over. I think the ears are done. It's just the rest of the arms, the rest of the body, and then we'll sign off. So that's that section. You can paint straight onto the model, because that would be awkward otherwise. Where on earth is this section? I know, yeah, you can just find the mesh and all that, but as I suspect it's all these little triangles. One triangle. There's the other one. No idea why that's not picked up. Give that a fill. Ah, still need to do the legs yet. Okay, so how are we looking? It's not looking bad. Not looking bad at all. It's got this back piece here. Let's draw a line across that. And I've got to draw the line to match up the separated bit. Cool, we can finish the line ourselves now. Ah, so over here. Oh, we've got a little strip going on here. Where's that little strip? There it is. Got another strip here. There's some weird things there. Definitely could improve the mesh by deleting some of the vertices. Oh. Still got these couple of bits there. I'm not sure where they are. So there's a couple of diamond pieces. That looks like a diamond piece here. There we go. That's one of them. Another diamond piece. It's either a diamond piece or it is two triangles. It's hard to tell what. Yes, so that's part of a of something. Aha. That triangle there needs to be coloured in. As I suspected, it is a separate triangle. There it is. Why you just didn't put those two triangles together? I have no idea. So what have we got left as far as the upper body goes? So all these little bits. I can just draw on the model like that. That's pretty cool. Not sure what I coloured in, but it was not that bit. This is not updated yet. It's a little bit crude on the colouring. There we go. That's that bit here, down here. But as long as it's covering certain areas, it'll do the trick. God, oops, a little bit just here. So let's colour that on the mesh. I think that's okay. So any of these sort of could do is just being a little bit tidier up here. You're not going to notice from distance. Okay, need to draw its mouth, and then that's the top half done then. It comes down about to here. The other part of the nose was up here, wasn't it? There it is. Probably not quite as curved as that. Yeah, probably like that. Let's clean that side up. Let's go up to this part. Oh, what's going on here? Clean that up. Where is it? It's over here. There it is. It's very important of the both sides of the mesh, the same resolution. You see, one half of him is high resolution than the other. But they're not too bad. It's just his legs then. So make sure we give this a save because it just can crash now. Everything goes. It's looking pretty cool though. What are we looking like? It's coming up to half past. See if we can get these legs done. Shouldn't be too much because I think the legs for the most part are singular parts, if not mostly together. Let's give that a fill. Fill that in. Yeah, so they can do better on this mesh. But I might try making it a Panda 2.0 as I've practiced a little bit more. Let's fill this one manually for a bit of fun. Always takes you back to mindlessly colouring stuff. Fill that in. I suppose, again, so it's kind of having the experience and knowing these things, that any mesh that hasn't got a lot of detail and just block color, it can be just tiny. Don't need to sort of expand it at all. Just tiny little mesh. Just one single block color. Anything that's got detailed lines expands, so it's so much detail and resolution means I can make sharper lines. But it's something to know then. But it does help, certainly does help if the unwrap is a bit more neater. So working with seams, I need to look up how you do seams and how you apply those, and then I can know how to unwrap things and make it easier to texture. But you do things the hard way at least once. Hopefully next time you do it the easy way. If you don't do it the hard way at least once, then you don't appreciate the easy way. Nor do you know why it's the easier way. You know, surely it's just longer doing it that way. Why can't I just select all of them and unwrap? But then realizing, actually, taking a bit more time at that stage saves you so much more time at this stage. Wrong one. Not sure that was grey. That's quite odd. Some glitchiness. So it's got sections of these legs and wraps quite well. Other bits, not so much. But I'm putting that down to a messy mesh as well. Now if I made the mesh a bit cleaner, it wouldn't be such a bad process. Like all these sections here, which is just black, I could shrink and put in a black section of the map. So about like a quarter of it in the corner, just black. And shrink these down, whack them in there. There's an X somewhere. Is that it? This is down there. Not sure why it's not updating the screen anymore. That's going to make life a bit harder. I probably need to bring it in a bit. Cool, that should do nicely there. It's got a section there. Well, there's probably some bits I could probably do, like that little section there, but it's not major. I think though, I think he's textured. Cool, so we'll leave it there. Work out getting it imported into Unity next stream. Well, thank you all for joining tonight. I'm going to wrap it up and get some rest. Next stream will be on Monday, doing Stardew Valley with Lysaurus Rex, Coltaker Komori, and Nix's Crafts. So I hope you tune in then. Next game dev stream might be on the Wednesday, or we might be doing some Fallout 1. So keep an eye on my socials, my Discord, and I'll be posting in there. But until then, hope you have a good Friday, enjoy the rest of your evening, have a good weekend, and I shall see you all on Monday. Thanks for joining. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Nix. Thank you, Hom VP. And anyone else who's dropped in our error, and I can see a couple of people lurking there. Thank you for your luck. So, yeah, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Have a good night. Good night.